Good morning. I welcome everyone to the fourth meeting of the Justice Committee in 2014. Can I ask everyone to switch off mobile phones and other electronic devices completely, as they interfere with the broadcasting system even when switched to silent. No apologies have been received. Item 1. I'm asking you to agree to consider item 4 in our work programme in private today. Are you agreed? Members recall that last week we agreed to consider a draft report on the Criminal Justice Scotland Bill in private, so that's already done. Item 2, our next item of business is consideration of one negative instrument, the Police Service of Scotland Amendment Regulations 2014 SSI 2014/1. This instrument amends the public holiday entitlement of police constables. Do members have any comments in relation to this instrument?
Clearly, the agreement has been reached between the SPF and the Police Negotiating Board Scotland, but I have heard that some officers feel that they haven't been adequately consulted on this. It's just, I mean, that's not anything to do with moving against it. It's just that there appears to be a problem in
it's really got nothing to do with the negative instrument, but I'll let you put it on the record. Yes.
Yeah. Again, it's not the substantive issue of the negative instrument, Convener, but it was more to put really straight. In the letter of Callum Steele, he seemed to think the UK government was setting the justice budget, where it's a matter really for the Scottish government. It just was very misleading in his correspondence.
Where is that?
Bullet point 1 in Callum Steele's letter.
Well, it's maybe an inference that's made. It's not specific. It just says that budgets are being cut by the UK. John?
Convener, as someone who's found himself in a position of consulting, can I assure you that they'll have very robust consulting procedures in the Scottish Police Federation? That doesn't mean that all 17,500 officers will avail themselves of the information that's in the consultation, but they will have been.
We've got that on the record. Actually, if the negotiating board have agreed, they've agreed. It's up to the members what they do with that. But in terms of this, the technical matter, we're happy with that. Okay? Are we content with this? No recommendation? Thank you.
Yes, Chair, I'm happy with that.
Right. Now, item 3, Criminal Justice Scotland Bill. I think before I go into this, I'm going to refer to the email that Lord McCluskey sent us all. I have to say, this is a personal comment, I was a bit cross. I'll tell you why I was a bit cross, because I'm looking at what this committee has done in scrutinising the bill, and I have a note of it all. We received this request last Friday to give evidence to the committee on the provision of the Criminal Justice Bill relating to the abolition of the requirement of corroboration. Now, can I just clarify what we've done so far? We all know we're in the middle of considering a draft stage 1 report. In fact, we're at the last gasp of considering it. We signed off the first part last week, and we're doing it again today. In my view, there was ample time for people to contribute to our evidence-gathering session at stage 1, and any requests to give evidence were given full and proper consideration. The bill was introduced on 20th of June last year. We issued our call for written evidence on 26th June, with a deadline for submissions of 30th of August. However, we accepted late submissions whilst the committee was hearing oral evidence. We received 65 submissions in total and held 11 evidence sessions between September last year and this month, 6 of which focused specifically on corroboration. Furthermore, this isn't the first time the committee has looked at the proposal to abolish the requirement for corroboration. We took evidence immediately following publication of Lord Carlway's report at the end of 2011. Now, we all recognise that the proposals in the bill, including relating to corroboration, are hugely significant. This committee, probably more so than anybody else, and requires thought and careful scrutiny. However, it's not possible to accommodate any further evidence at this point, where we are so far down the road in considering our stage 1 report. As I've said on many occasions, this does not preclude us from taking further evidence at stage 2 if required. If amendments come forward, it is possible, and that would be a matter for the committee if we considered it to be of value. Furthermore, can I add, if I let one person come in at this stage to give evidence, bear with me a minute, if I let one person come in at this, in the middle of writing a report, to give evidence, I would have to open it up to other people who may wish to come and give evidence at stage 1 of the report. This does not mean that we cannot take evidence on this at all. It is available to committees at stage 2 in the amendment procedure if the committee requires it. Now, that's the position as I see what we have done so far. And I think why I was slightly irritated by it was the idea that we had not left this open for people to come in and out. Now, I'll let you open it to discussion briefly Margaret?
Yeah, I think probably Lord Clusky's request to talk to the committee was triggered not in any small part by the stunt, and I can't describe it as anything else,
language,
of
Margaret.
the Cabinet Secretary coming up with will implement, will abolish this and implement it later.
Margaret, stop.
At the very
stop,
last
Margaret,
minute.
stop. I'm in the chair. Stop. Please don't use words like stunt. You may be very angry, but just guard your language. You were very angry at the way it went forward. That's fine, but please don't use that language.
Dirk's method by which he introduced his proposal, not given the courtesy of introducing it in an opening statement to the committee. I think that's probably what has triggered Lord Custy's request to speak now to the committee.
That's not the point at issue. The point at issue is we are 3/4 of the way through a stage 1 report. The principle and operation is we've heard all the evidence so far. It does not close the gates, if necessary, at stage 2 to hearing some further evidence. I've said that, and it's happened with committees before. But in terms of principle, I feel if we let one person, no matter who they were or whatever they were representing, come in at this stage in a report, in principle, we should be opening it to anybody else who wants to come in the middle of a stage 1 report.
I'm not suggesting that we do open it again. I'm merely explaining why I think he asked at this very last minute to give evidence triggered by the events of the 14th of January.
He doesn't actually say that in his letter, but nevertheless, Alison.
Thank you. Well, I think Lord McCluskey raises important issues, and he explains in his letter that he thought others would demonstrate the proposal to abolish the need for corroboration would have been dismissed. But when I came to read the evidence presented to committee, I realised that there have been serious errors in that evidence, including, I believe, evidence given by the Lord Advocate. And the evidence of the Justice Secretary raised new matters, namely the idea of supporting evidence. So he's asking to give evidence at a point when new evidence had been introduced into the debate. And I hope that we will give due regard to considering this at stage 2.
Well, that's fine, but can I just clarify the Lord Advocate gave evidence on the 24th of September last year? So, you know, why was there no response at that stage from anybody? That's the point. We have not been shy about this matter. So I beg your pardon, 20th November last year, evidence was given by the Lord Advocate. Now, there has been plenty of time since then to send in written comments, to do, and I am not prepared, frankly, to have the committee directed by correspondence in the Scotsman. And if you want to do something, write to the committee, but not slap bang in the middle of stage 1. Thank you, Alison. Roddy.
Yeah, I understand fully where you're coming from, convener. All I do think is that this is a debate which is also being conducted outside Parliament, and I think there are issues possibly that we might want to return to rather unusually at stage 2. Yeah.
Never been a problem. Elaine?
The report that we prepare at stage 1 is a report on the bill as drafted. It's not a report on what the Cabinet Secretary might have suggested could come in as amendments about the bill as drafted, and therefore that we've taken evidence on the bill as drafted. I think there is a need to find out from others, particularly with the change proposals and so on. I've actually made some inquiries myself and had some correspondence with others about whether or not the new suggestions are a good idea, but that is evidence for stage 2. I think at the moment the debate will be on stage 1 as on the bill as drafted, and we don't take any further evidence at the moment.
Thank you, Elaine.
I just want to thank you, Commander. I just wanted to check that Lord McCluskey has never contacted the committee all the way through.
No.
So I found it astonishing because you must know what the timing was.
Yes.
And as Rod said, you know, he was in the media trying to have a debate outside the committee, and that shouldn't be happening. You know, we shouldn't be commenting on what's happening outside the committee. People are coming, giving evidence here. It's what we should talk about.
John.
Thank you, Convener. I think this should be about process and not personalities. I would align myself with Alison's comments there, and certainly we wouldn't want to not hear from anyone should the committee be minded to take evidence at a future stage. So I'm very content with the process
My
thus
point
far.
entirely, John, that I can't open floodgates here, and there is a process in stage one, but it doesn't close matters down. Perhaps anybody who's listening to this will understand that the committee writes its stage one report on the evidence it's heard until it starts writing its stage one report. Thereafter, it doesn't mean there's an end to the matter. There's also a debate in the chamber on stage one. There's also stage two amendments, which I suspect may be rather substantial in certain areas of this bill, which leaves it open to a committee to take further evidence and to extend the time for a stage two. So we are masters of it still. Thank you very much. Right, now that's got that aired. Now can I move into private session, please, where we consider stage one? Thank you.